out of here, understand? You included.
Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. It's your T-shirted historian. I got a bit of bad news this week. One of my YouTuber friends, Gil Bavel, known by his YouTube name Cardinal Sin, I discovered he passed away this week. I don't know the circumstances of his death. I do know that he had been living with a lot of pain for a very long time and had been on a variety of medications. And I know he lost his father a year or so ago. So I don't know what the contributing factors to his death were, but I'm kind of saddened by it. Well, I'm actually pretty saddened by it because back when I started all this, a few years ago, 3 years ago, I guess, Cardinal Sin was one of the first guys to reach out to me and ask me to come hang out with him on his channel. And he would ask me pretty often, actually. I couldn't make it to every single show. He usually did very long shows on Sundays, sometimes going 4 or more hours. I think a couple of times he did some 24-hour stream type things. But he was a good guy. I mean, his shows would ramble a bit, and he would probably maybe do a little too many Christopher Walken impressions, but he could do them good. But he was a sharp guy, and he was very into science fiction, and he used to get Philip K. Dick's widow on his show a lot to talk about science fiction and other things. At the time I met him, I think he had about 600 to 800 subs. So, back when I was starting out, I was like, wow, you're a big guy by comparison, Anybody who's that much bigger than you are, they're huge guys. So you can imagine I still look at people like Fat Steven and Grim as being way, way big. Grim's about to hit 6K. I haven't even checked to see what Fat Steven is at now. It's probably getting close to about 8 or 9. But yeah, like I said, he was a guy who helped me out when I was first starting out, and he was always a really good dude. He'd pop in randomly and throw me some $50 donations here and there, and I guess I kind of always took it for granted that he'd always be around. I could always see, hey, Gil's on, and I just never really considered that he'd pass away, or that his health was bad, or anything. And it's just death really seems to be visiting me a lot lately, and it's like it's just playing with me almost. It feels like it's telling me, it's like, I'm going to take everybody else, but I'm not going to take you yet. I'm going to take this person that you cared about. I'm going to take this person that you cared about. I'm going to take this person that you cared about. I'm going to keep hurting you, but I'm not going to take you, not just yet. And it's rough, man. I mean, I don't know how much longer this little game is going to go on. I know one of these days it's going to be my turn. I just hope that when that happens, that I do have some good friends who will remember me as fondly as I can remember them. I mean, that's all I can really hope for. But anyway, I don't want to be super morose, on the show. I mean, this is, we're supposed to be kind of upbeat and, let's kind of see if we can't turn this energy around a little bit today. I got some good friends on here, and I got some good people out here in the audience. Let's bring on everybody. Hey, Iron.
Hello, hello.
Grim and Victor and our special guest.
Hi.
Greg.
Whoa.
I was just going to say, just kind of on the subject of Gil. I have been kind of hearing behind the scenes that he fortunately went in his sleep, so it just kind of came and went.
I'm glad. I knew he was on quite a bit of pain medication for the longest time, and you could kind of hear it in his voice. And sometimes whenever he would get on streams, he'd be a little loopy. But he was a good guy. He was always very giving. The last show I actually did with him, he did get a wish because he kept telling me that he wanted Lord Baphomet on his show. So the very last show that I did with him, Lord Baphomet did come hang out with him for a little bit. So he did get his wish. I almost kind of wish I had Lord Baphomet on with him a little bit longer now. But, it is what it is, I guess. Anyway.
Well, we're here for a limited amount of time, so we can only gotta try to make the most of it.
I know, and it seems shitty, doesn't it? Because it's like we do have such a limited amount of time, and we waste so much of it having to work our asses off and do shit that we don't want to do. It's just there's something wrong with this world.
Live to work
Anyway.
or work to live. Work to live.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
Yeah. It's too bad we can't all work at the jobs that we would really prefer to be doing. Instead, we're just stuck doing the ones that pay us what we need to survive.
Once we get the fully automated luxury communism, then we can all do what we want.
Oh, yay! Fully automated luxury communism. I want our robot overlords to take over. And
I mean, I get paid to stream and to write tabletop games and to drink too much. So, I mean, I'm good.
Shut the fuck up, Victor.
You bastard. Hey, I'm all on board. Let me try this for myself.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I don't think I did this right, Victor. I think you got to teach me more.
Yeah. We'll do a drinking stream.
Yeah. Yeah, Tim Hayes, yeah, he was in pain. He kept it hidden from anyone. Yeah, but I knew about it. I heard about it. Experts at the craft table, yeah, telling stories of friends that have passed keeps them alive in memory. It does. It does. That's all we can do. Calstaff, good to see you, buddy. Disciple of Logris, it's good to see you. Oh, hey, there you go, Grim. Tim, you hadn't seen Grim before? Yeah. You're gonna love his channel. He's even better than me.
Thank you.
Just passerby. Yeah. You're getting close to 6K.
Yeah. If the momentum keeps going, should be there by the end of the year, easy. So
nice. And Victor's getting close to 1K.
Yep.
So he's getting close to the monetization. I'm the only one who's like lagging behind now. So I don't know what to do.
I just crossed 450.
Hey, that's
nice.
Not bad.
That's really good for, and considering you don't do a whole lot with your channel.
Yeah, it's been a lot more kind of guesting and being regulars and stuff like this, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
I do show up on the streams a lot, like probably too much, so that might help.
Maybe so. Maybe that is the secret to it. Is just guesting on lots of streams. Maybe I should try that more.
Collaborations.
Yeah.
Collaborations and slap fights. That's how you build an audience.
Yeah.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
We'll get it. We'll get there. All right. So, the big story today.
Which one?
Which one?
Which one? It's like gaming going crazy. We have comic book insanity. Like it has been just kind of a crazy bit of stories going off.
Yeah, it has. And the story I really wanted to talk about was still the autistic paladin nonsense, but that's not our big topic today. The biggest topic today that I have found has been the Unity shit that's going on. Yeah. So for those of you guys out there in YouTube land who don't know what's going on with Unity, Unity is it's a software platform. It's for game developers to use. In fact, if you're a PC gamer of any kind, or even a gamer who plays, like Nintendo or whatever like that, chances are pretty good that at least one game that you own has been developed on Unity. Like, for example, Hearthstone, the World of Warcraft card game, is built on a Unity engine. Cult of the Lamb is built on a Unity engine. Among Us, one of the most popular games out there, is built on a Unity engine. Right? So the deal is, let me bring up my info really quick. So the deal is, Unity has decided that their new policy is they are going to start charging developers on a per install basis for their engine.
Yeah.
And the actual stat is it's a 20-cent fee per install for small developers. Unity personal subscribers is what they call them.
Wow.
And just to give you some figures, their games brought in $200,000 in the past year, and they have 200,000 lifetime installs to date.
I had heard somewhere that they might be revising that so it's not every time you install a game. So, for example, if you install, uninstall, reinstall Among Us across, say, multiple devices, they still might only be charged the one time. So it is better, but it's still an extra 20-cent charge.
Yeah. And I think it wasn't supposed to kick in until you've had so many installs total as well. I'm not sure how they're going to track this, but
I have some data on that. And yeah, Chris, I know you're fine with Blizzard getting fucked over for once, but here's the thing though. Large developers like Blizzard only get charged 1 cent fee per install for large development. These are Unity Enterprise clients.
Well,
their games brought in $1 million last year and have lifetime sales of $1 million or more.
Well, yeah, but I I'm actually kind of a little more okay with, just on the account of per volume. If we're looking at it purely from a business standpoint, you would figure you'd want to have some sort of kind of discount to that rate for just the sheer volume of players you have in a game. So it's actually not as unfair as it sounds. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still don't like the idea, but looking at it from just the pure kind of money sense, it makes sense.
Well, I do have the figures for what is going to be counted as an install and what is not going to be counted as an install. So, quote, no demos, trials, or game bundles and giveaways like Humble Bundle, they will not count as installs. However, if it's early access, beta, or demo of a full game, then yes, it will result in a runtime fee.
Wait, runtime fee. So
Yeah.
that also makes it sound like just for playing the game.
Well, that's what they're calling it. It's a runtime fee.
So I wonder if that's going to be turned into a fee based on the amount of playtime a player has the game active.
No, my understanding is it's every time the game is physically installed, and I have more to go in on this. Like I said, this is a really deep rabbit hole, and I ran down the whole thing today.
Okay.
Doing research on it. You got a cat.
I'm on board now.
Victor's got pussy.
Yeah, finally.
Look at that.
Oh, cutie.
Cute guy. Here's a girl.
Looks like Domino from the X-Men.
Yeah, it does. Okay. So how about games included in streaming services, right? Because they're not really installed on an end user device, so they shouldn't count, right? Subscription services like Game Pass do count as an install.
That's what it sounds like they're trying to go after ultimately.
Yeah. They are trying to go after what they're really after is they're trying to go after the Game Passes. They're trying to go after the mobile apps because the mobile apps are almost all built on Unity engine, and because of all the microtransactions and crap, those things make a ton of money.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think Genshin Impact is Unity, and like we all know how much that money, how much that brings in. Well,
yeah, Genshin Impact is one of the ones that is specifically named.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go as well.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go is also.
Really surprised that some of the bigger boys aren't freaking out about this.
That's the thing. The bigger boys don't care because it's like, okay, yeah, what's $1 million to Blizzard? But
yeah, but again, that also kind of goes back to what I was saying with sort of the bulk installed discount rate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the big boys are only getting charged 1 cent per install. They don't. I mean, it's 1 cent. It's nothing.
Yeah, and we'll put out a new skin and charge you $1 for it. That'll cover like everything.
Yeah, I mean that's literally how they'll make their money back. Is they'll be like, oh look, they're charging us 1 cent per install. No problem. Hey, players, we've just released this new super weapon. You can buy it for the low price of $10. There you go.
It's hard to see how they justify doing this because obviously they already have a financing model, licensing, whatever else, which is how they make their money. It just seems like they're getting greedy, and the result is just going to be that people aren't going to use Unity anymore.
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah, and like Chris Taddock says, Tencent has a ton of Unity games, and that's what they're aiming at. They're aiming at the 10 cents. They're aiming at all the mobile guys who have tons and tons of mobile games that are built on Unity that are basic crap engines, just designed to suck your wallet dry. And I'm no stranger to this. Okay, I mean, I play the Fist of the North Star gotcha game. I love it. I've wasted a lot of money on it, unfortunately, but I'm sorry, Kenshiro and company whooping people's asses. I want to play that. And I don't know if it is actually built on Unity or not, or if it's its own proprietary engine or not.
Well, that's the other thing I found when I was researching it. They're trying to change the text of their agreements, which gave me flashbacks to, the OGL.
Yeah, I was literally just thinking that it reminds me of the OGL stuff.
Yeah, because they're trying to change it so that previously the text in the agreements was that you could continue using an older version that you developed for in perpetuity without having to pay anything extra. Now they've gone back and they've changed all that text and removed text. So now if you develop even under previous versions, you supposedly get caught under this agreement.
The
It's
reasoning,
kind of
yeah, the reasoning feels similar too, because we
Yes.
all speculated that Wizard of the Coast wanted to go after Paizo and people like that, but meanwhile they were just screwing us little guys, and this feels
Yep.
like a very similar situation.
It does.
Yeah.
And see, I figured gamers would catch on to this much faster than everybody else.
Did you happen to hear the other story that came out around this?
Around it,
Okay.
possibly.
Okay, so there was recently a death threat that happened at the Unity offices.
I heard that.
Well, as a result of this, they shut down a couple of the offices. Coincidentally, on a day in which they were going to have a town hall meeting to sit and discuss this with the employees. So the CEO gets the skirt out of it yet again.
Oh yeah. And okay, so talking about their how they're going to track this. Okay, their quote is, "We leverage our own proprietary data model, so you can appreciate that we won't go into a lot of detail, but we believe it gives an accurate determination of the number of times the runtime is distributed for a given project."
Yeah, you owe us $1 million. How do we know? Trust me, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, our algorithm told us. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And see, this is the thing. You only know how many times the runtime was distributed. That's not the same thing as how many times it was installed.
Yeah, so kind of sounds like more like the tracking sales rather than actual installs. So if I buy a game on Steam and it happens to be Unity, it's like, well, that's an install. It's like, no, I haven't even installed it. I've never played this game. I have like so many games on Steam that I've probably never even installed. So yeah,
I have a ton of games on Steam, and then I haven't even played half of them because I'm just damn busy.
I mean, the only sort of the only silver lining for me, I feel, is that like half my Steam library seems to come from charity websites like Humble Bundle, so that's about the only way it's getting kind of skirted around that.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, that does kind of encourage me to want to buy more stuff from Humble Bundle, because A, it saves you money, and B, it will avoid the Unity screwing. Yeah, if that's right.
Because even then, that it's not so much for you and me. Although let's be honest, a lot of these developers will probably pass that on as like a increase of like 50 cents or $1 for the game. It's also like I feel better because I know at least like I'm kind of helping kind of skirt around that, even though we're the different storefronts are taking different percentages. And then they have to give some charity. It's kind of a conundrum.
Yeah. Not to mention, there's the GOG, Good Old Gaming. They distribute DRM free copies. So how is this going to impact the DRM free copies?
Well, I mean, it goes with those. If just having the installer downloaded does make like, because that's what I do. Like, I have a hard drive full of my installers from there, and that can't be tracked.
Yeah, so that kind of makes it feel more like they're gonna track sales rather than actual installs.
And Chris Static, you're probably right. Game Pass prices will probably increase because of this as an excuse.
There was something about thresholds, but I can't remember how many it was.
Yeah, this story, like I said, it's bigger than I originally anticipated. Some of my friends who I didn't even realize were in on this were actually yelling at me about it yesterday. They were like, "Hey, T-shirt, do you know this? Have you heard that crazy story about Unity?" And I'm like, "You heard about this crazy story about Unity?" But yeah, the developers for Among Us, Going Under, Cult of the Lamb, Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, Slay the Spire, Wizard with a Gun, Floppy Knights have all publicly said that they are going to switch engines if these changes go through. And they had some really interesting ways of showing their displeasure, if I might show a bit. Let's start off with yes. Here's a bit of Slay the Spire right here. I don't own this game, but as you can see here, Mega Crit which is behind Slay the Spire, says the Mega Crit team has been hard at work these past 2+ years on a new game. But unlike with Slay the Spire, the engine we have been developing it in is Unity. The retroactive pricing structure of runtime fees is not only harmful in a myriad of ways to developers, especially indies, it is also a violation of trust. We believe Unity is fully aware of this, seeing as they have gone so far as to remove their TOS from GitHub. Yeah, that's the other thing. They removed their terms of service from GitHub. Despite the immense amount of time and effort our team has already poured into development on our new title, we will be migrating to a new game engine unless the changes are completely reverted and TOS protections are put in place. We have never made a public statement before. That is how badly you fucked up.
This is definitely like the OGL situation, but for video games. Like, all the same things are happening.
Yes, exactly.
So,
exactly.
Which makes me think, like, how can you watch what Wizards did and be like, you know what, I'm going to do the same thing a year later?
Pretty much. This one is pretty funny. This is from Face Punch Studio. Unity can get fucked. Face Punch Studios.
Based.
Funny. That was a good one. Let's see what else we have here. Okay. This is from Inner Sloth. These are the guys who did Among Us. I thought they were also, yeah. We use Unity to make our games. This would harm not only us, but fellow game studios of all budgets and sizes. If this goes through, we'd delay content and features our players actually want to port our game elsewhere, as others are also considering. But many developers won't have the time or means to do the same. Stop it! What the fuck?
Yeah.
And one last one. Let me see here. Yeah, this is pretty good. I like this one. Hey gamers! Today, Unity, the engine we use to make our games, announced that they'll soon be taking a fee from developers for every copy of the game installed over a certain threshold, regardless of how that copy was obtained. Guess who has a somewhat highly anticipated game coming to Xbox Game Pass in 2024? That's right, it's us and a lot of other developers. That means Another Crab's Treasure will be free to install for the 25 million Game Pass subscribers. If a fraction of those users download our game, Unity could take a fee that puts an enormous dent in our income and threatens the sustainability of our business. And that's before we even think about sales on other platforms or pirated installs of our game, or even multiple installs by the same user. This decision puts us and countless other studios in a position where we might not be able to justify using Unity for our future titles. If these changes aren't rolled back, we'll be heavily considering abandoning our wealth of Unity expertise we've accumulated over the years and starting from scratch in a new engine, which is really something we'd rather not do. On behalf of the dev community, we're calling on Unity to reverse the latest in a string of short-sighted decisions that seem to prioritize shareholders over their product's actual users. I fucking hate it here. Aggro Crab.
Just like with the Wizards of the Coast fiasco, even if they reverse it, all the trust has already been damaged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have a fee breakdown for this as well. So according to this, how is a Unity runtime fee calculated? It's if a game or app meets the minimum threshold for eligibility, the Unity runtime fee will be calculated based on the applicable rate, depending on the number of installs, the country of installs, and the user's Unity plan, multiplied by the number of eligible installs. For example, let's look at a hypothetical game made by a team using Unity Pro with the following revenue and install numbers. Unity Pro would be used by like a big company like Blizzard. Revenue for last 12 months, 2 million USD. Lifetime installs, 5 million. The Unity runtime fee will apply to this game as it surpasses the $1 million revenue and 1 million lifetime install thresholds for Unity Pro. Let's look at the game's installs from the last month. Prior month installs, standard fee countries, 200K. Prior month installs, emerging market fee countries, 100K. So the fee for install activity is 23.5K USD, calculated as follows. Blah 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 blah. I don't do math. You can
It
read
doesn't
it.
take much to read between the lines that it's obviously they just want to give a break to China because China has like 500 million installs of games with the Unity engine.
Imagine that. I mean, they wouldn't want to, have any bad blood with Tencent Corporation.
Oh
right?
no, of course not.
Yeah, and like I said, Blizzard, which also kowtows to China pretty heavily. Like I said, they built their Hearthstone game on
until they pissed off the Chinese market and they started like smashing the Chinese statues, the Chinese statues.
Yeah.
I think it's important to point out that was revenue, not profit. So that's turnover from the game, not what they take home in useful money. So that's being a bit deliberately misleading.
Yeah, Mr. Max has a good comment. I believe he used to work for what was it, Ubisoft? So he would know.
Oh, cool. People running Unity are retarded, always have been. Can we say that?
Yes, I think it applies in this case, if anywhere.
Now, I mean, it's easy just to sit there and hate on Unity, but there is actually a reason for why they did this. Yeah, okay, so it was Ubisoft. So according to what I've been reading, Unity is $2.6 billion is Unity's lifetime accumulated deficit over 19 years of operations, which they got by combining a 2.2 billion lifetime debt of its last annual report with the 447 million in net losses it reported for the first 2 quarters of its current fiscal year. And it's doubled in pretty short order. So Unity has never had a profitable quarter in its history. It has posted modest operating profits in the past 3 quarters for the first time ever.
Well, that's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was purely like a profit-based move in order to, try to bring up their losses and keep their company kind of liquid. But it's kind of telling because their CEO is John Riccitiello, I think is his name.
Are we sure they didn't hire a Williams?
Well, no, he didn't hire Williams, but this guy used to work at EA. This is the same guy at EA who suggested that it was a really good idea to do things like get a player invested in playing a game like a Call of Duty type game. And then whenever the player runs out of ammunition in the battlefield, to charge them $1 to reload their magazine. I'm not kidding. There's an actual quote floating around on the internet. You can actually hear a soundbite of it.
That's not evil enough. It needs to reload with a random amount of ammo, like a loot box each time you reload.
Ooh, actually, he was I think he was behind some of the development of loot boxes, which are illegal now in most countries.
I see this happen a lot. Like a company that's doing reasonably well, has a good reputation. They hire some like new CEO that's like from some awful company, and then they just start putting the same weird draconic shit in that. And yeah, that happened with Etsy. Like I don't know, all these places. Wizards, Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, Chris backs me up. 100% true. He wanted to sell ammo for real money. And Mr. Boivin says, pretty sure Unity does ideological hiring, so you end up with a lot of dead wood in that case. Yeah, that's what happens when you get all them diversity hires, I guess. You pay salaries that don't bring in anything.
But this is an archly capitalist ideology, which is proving equally ruinous for a big company. That's the trouble with putting pure profit and serving the shareholders over everything else. You end up cannibalizing your own audience and destroying any long-term survivability for your company because you forget what got you there in the first place.
I mean, it seems like it's really more more corporatism than just pure capitalism.
Well,
Where
speaking-
it's not,
6 of one,
Well-
half a dozen of the other.
but it's worth noting though that this same CEO did sell off some of his stock just before this runtime fee announcement came out.
Of course.
Yeah. As did a bunch of other people in the company.
As did a bunch of other people in the company. You know, I don't know. Now, what kind of scares me about this? Obviously, Unity is a really big engine. There's a lot of people who use it, but it's not the only one out there. A lot of companies have proprietary engines. CD Projekt Red has its Red engine. Bethesda has been, kind of churning along on their same. What the hell's its engine called? It's the same one they've been using forever.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Creation engine.
Creation engine, yeah. Yeah. A lot of these companies are using their own engines. I think Baldur's Gate 3 actually has its own engine as well. But like Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red already announced that they're switching over to Unreal Engine for their next games. And from now on, they're going to start using Unreal because there's a lot more developers who know how to use it, and it's easier to work with than their Red engine, right? So what happens if Unreal takes a look at Unity and says, that's kind of a good idea. Maybe we should do that too.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing
they
is,
already was gone.
I'll say the thing is though, like it's now going to become a question of what developers are going to be willing to look at it and say, yeah, let's go ahead and use them for our next game. Is it going to be worth it when they have this as something in their past? Are they going to then change the terms again on future products, and then try to retroactively? It's like it's going to be interesting to see which companies are going to decide to stick with it and trust them to not try and screw them over again further.
Mm-hmm.
As for the stock thing, the selling off, my understanding is that that's something that just does happen sometimes, like where part of a CEO's salary is going to be in a form of stock that they are obligated to hold for a certain amount of time. So it might just have also coincidentally happened that he met the criteria for that. So while it's tempting to say he's obviously inside trading or something like that, it might just be pure coincidence, and they didn't think it was going to be as big a issue as we're making it out to be.
Maybe not.
But
I mean,
sus.
Yeah, it is. It is a bit sus. And Brett Cohen with $10 Australian has a little super sticker of a corgi waving heart flags. Thank you very much, Brett. I appreciate you. Yeah. If you like what we're doing, yeah, please like, subscribe, throw a little bit of cash in the form of a super sticker or something. That'd be great. Could definitely use the money. I'm not a Unity developer, so I'm fortunate there. But yeah, it's. I'm not sure how this is really. Oh, I have some idea how this is going to affect our games in the future. I mean, for one thing, it's going to cause delays, as some of these companies are going to have to learn how to build their games using whole new engines or completely develop new ones from the ground up, which ultimately is better for them. But for us, the end user, it means delays. It might also mean increased costs, because I'm pretty sure building your own engine from the ground up costs a hell of a lot more than just sourcing somebody else's engine to use to create your game.
I wonder if Nintendo uses Unity at all.
Well, don't forget as well, with the ongoing writer strike, is trying to pull in a lot of voice actors for video games. So there are other further delays that may wind up happening as well in the pipeline.
Yeah,
Eh,
I was just
gives me a
going to
chance.
say we're not going to have any films or TV series or computer games. So now is the time to strike at your Steam back catalog.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, gives me a chance to finish my all my Steam games.
Yeah, I guess that is a good thing. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's not like I don't have plenty of games I need to finish. It's just,
I could
Just
care less
irritating.
about the writer strike, to be honest.
I could finally play Parasite Eve.
Yeah,
I played that years ago when it came out.
Didn't they
yeah,
announce
but
a
you're
remake?
old.
Yeah, they did,
I can
which would be great.
finally play Suikoden.
Suikoden. Yeah. Hey, Peter Ryder, Captain Infinity. It's good to see you, buddy. I hadn't seen you in a long time. Well, so bad news. Bad news. But it ain't all bad today. We got some good news too. We got some good news because Greg over at
There you go.
Iries put out a new album this week, and I already bought it.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Well, I bought it the instant it got announced to me because I'm actually subscribed. So,
You're supposed to buy it. I was just listening to it for free.
well, you could do that too. It's on his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So I
you
think,
have
you
to
know,
pay
I
20
think-
cents each time you play it.
Yeah, Bandcamp is a good model of how to do things because you can technically listen to the entire album for free, but surprisingly, most people are willing to pay the money to buy the album and support the artist.
Mhm.
And a lot of people have done that for this new album. It just came out yesterday. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty excited about that. It's Nocturnes and Nightmares, a sequel to our album from last year. Now, if any of you who don't know what Dungeon Synth is, it's a electronic ambient genre that has become synonymous with, I guess, the OSR, or, I don't know, playing Dungeons and Dragons, but really it's more of a darker type of atmospheric, like fantasy synth music. It's not like new retro wave or anything like that, or synth wave, but it's more of a neoclassical type of thing.
Mhm.
It started with Mortius in the 80s.
No,
And now we
Mortis, the
Yep.
Norwegian guy.
Yep, that guy. He was an emperor, and then he
Yeah.
went on and did his solo project, and he did the biggest Dungeon Synth album was Crypt of the Wizard that he did in like 1986 or whatever. But there's a long history there. But it's a big
What about
genre, so
What about
Yes,
Tangerine
yes.
Dream? Do they count?
yep, Tangerine Dream is definitely a precursor.
They're
Yeah.
good.
And Goblin, and
Yes.
a lot of 70s and 80s synth stuff. So if you like that type of thing, if you like atmospheric music, and you can even play it at your game table or not, but it's really designed to like evoke a mood. That's what we've got here.
I have to say, my favorite track is "Of His Throne Only Dust Remains."
Yeah, that's a good one.
But I do like the Forever Man because I like the reference, and it does sound
Yeah.
like it would fit that video game really well.
Chalkin.
Yeah, good old Chakan, the Forever Man by Rob Krause. He's still
So
around somewhere.
He's around. I've got all his comics signed. He did a sketch for me.
I got his
But,
card set signed.
If you want to listen to the album on YouTube, you can, but if you really want to get a high quality lossless download, you can get it in FLAC, MP3, whatever, if you buy it for $3 or more. You can donate more, and we have cassette tapes on the way as well. Cassette trading is like it's still a thing in the indie music world, and we're on board with that.
I'll go buy it later. I just wasn't even aware it was for sale. I just saw you link like the page where it was, what all had everything on it. I was just listening to it.
And no problem. You don't have to buy it, but yep, cool.
And Squeak a Mouse,
Squeak
thank you. You said as a $10 super sticker of a what's a Shiba Inu hugging a heart. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I can't see it
Thank
on
you.
my end.
You have to look at it through YouTube. Unfortunately,
Ah.
StreamYard won't display them. I don't know why. That's dumb, but
Yeah.
They at least tag it that that you got that.
Yeah.
What's when we were on the one stream the other day and we were doing all the emoticons, and then StreamYard just turned them into like text, so it was just
Yeah.
like this big of a thing of spam. It's like, what the hell is Tisha doing?
Is that what happened?
Yeah,
Oh wow! No wonder you didn't respond.
it was just like all the emoticons were like spelled out.
Yeah. You have to be able to see the matrix code to deal with it.
Yeah, I would agree. Tangerine Dream's legend is only beaten by Vangelis's Blade Runner for movie soundtracks. Yeah, I remember a lot of Tangerine
one.
Dreams. They did the soundtrack for The Keep, which that
Yeah,
was an
that was-
underrated but very good movie. That
Near
film
Dark
was,
as well.
huh?
Near Dark,
That's also-
they did the soundtrack for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also an
Good
AD&D module for the Keep.
And they did Sorcerer, which is one of my favorite movies too.
But
Yeah.
that's with the is that with the having to transport the
The Dynamite.
explosives? Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
it's a good movie.
That's a real good movie. Man,
They're weird now though. Like there's not a single person there that's like part of like the original lineup. It's just some random guys that carry the name, I guess.
Yeah,
Just changed their name to Ship of Theseus.
Yeah.
I mean that's a pretty good band name though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ship of Theseus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
nothing
nice.
original remains.
No,
That could be
no.
their album.
You just,
yeah.
you just start by just swapping out a guitar, then the microphone, then the drummer's gone.
Jerry Goldsmith is too lush. That's my only. I love his work in Alien. There's a lot of stuff he's done that I enjoy, but I just think he's a little bit too lush, a little too over the top.
I know my favorite movie soundtrack people are of course Ennio Morricone and then Basil Polidorus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Conan soundtrack is
Yeah.
that's like the soundtrack.
I listen to that when I weightlift, so yeah.
You lift weights?
I listened to the orgy
Well,
scene.
not lately,
track.
but I used to.
I was about to say, okay, Victor,
I mean, he
taking a
did-
leak doesn't count as lifting weights.
He did
Some-
a ton. I think he did all the Paul Verhoeven movies. I
think he did.
RoboCop for sure. I can't
Yeah,
remember if
RoboCop
he
was-
did Total Recall.
The opening track to Total Recall sounded exactly like a Conan soundtrack. I remember thinking
Yeah.
about that in the movie theater the first time. I was like, "Are we at a Conan movie?"
Yeah, that Conan soundtrack is one of my favorite ones. That's usually my go-to for when I do hit the gym. Just the sound of the opening orchestra of the drums going off. I'm picturing
Yeah.
like Conan pushing the wheel of pain for years and years. I'm like, that's right. Conan could push this thing. I can go an extra like 5 minutes on the treadmill.
Well,
The,
of course, a lot of those soundtracks, including Total Recall and Conan, heavily influenced by Gustav Holst's
Mhm.
Planet
The
Suite
planets.
and Mars,
Uh,
especially. Yeah.
Yeah.
Total Recall was Jerry Goldsmith.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
So he was Jerry Goldsmith. Surprise.
Surprising. But my favorite track from the Conan soundtrack is always going to be the Atlantean Sword, because that was just
Yeah,
the
that one's
perfect
epic.
score for that. It's like
Yeah.
the music told that story, and there was no dialogue in that. It was all just quiet, and it was all told with visuals and music.
I like Anvil of Quom, but yeah,
That was a
they're
good
all
one.
And Wolf
They're all
Brom's
good, but yeah. Damn. If only that movie had been just a bit more accurate, it would have. Well, I mean, it's already legendary, but I mean, the Conan fans everywhere would have just totally embraced it. As it is, most of the Conan fans will tell you that, yeah, it's good, but they messed up big time whenever they made Conan a slave. So
I've got a shout out to Max Boyben. He's got a long video on his channel where he defends the authenticity of the movie in comparison to Robert E. Howard. So check that out.
ooh, you know what? I would like to put Max Boivin in the same room with Andre on Hirar and see how that
Yeah.
how that goes down. Because Andre's my boy over from Norway. Because Andre and I did that stream on Howard, and man, that was like probably the best 2 hours of YouTube I ever did. I think.
I'm one of those guys that doesn't mind changes as long as the changes are good. And that's the
Mhm.
problem with all the adaptations that we get these days. The changes just aren't good. So
Well, yeah, I mean that's because there is no original thought anymore, unless of course you're Grimm, who is putting out a new book.
Yeah, nice segue.
Yeah,
Though I wouldn't say it's original. But yes, so kind of going full circle with the Red Room, because I kind of gave them their start publishing their first bits and bobs. They offered me some freelance work to basically do whatever I wanted. So I wrote a kind of homage to J.G. Ballard's science fiction works for use with their new edition of Wretched New Flesh when that comes out.
I need to get that.
I don't know. I'm terrible at pimping my stuff. You know this.
I know that, but it's worth mentioning. I mean, there's no links to get it yet or anything, but
No. There's a video on my YouTube channel which gives a kind of basic introduction. It's an experimental mini arcology built in the 1970s as what was considered futuristic and so on in the 1970s. And then something went wrong with it. It's like space and time is out of whack there. So it's kind of closed in on itself. And for whatever reason, the players will go to investigate it and get caught up in all the weird people who still live there and trying to solve the puzzle and get out again, maybe.
That sounds fun. Kind of like a city of the future type thing. But as they pictured it then.
Yeah, it's not pure Ballard because the way he wrote his books is kind of hostile to the way most people would approach role-playing games.
Yeah,
I agree,
in
George.
in RPGs, it's all about agency and being able to do something about the situation. But pretty much all of Ballard's books are about kind of just giving up and accepting the situation you're in and making the best of it. It kind of goes against what most players want out of the game. But hopefully the spirit of Ballard shines through.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got a link up to the video that you did on it, so people can go check it out and kind of get some firsthand knowledge from you about it. Yeah, I don't think we have enough time to really get into the whole autistic paladin thing, other than to say that it's dumb. But we'll probably hit it on Tuesday for sure. Plus, I know Ironcaster. If you can keep it short, do you want to gush about One Piece today, or do you want to save it for Tuesday?
I can keep it short.
Okay, go ahead.
So it kind of works in a way kind of related to talking about the faithfulness to the source material, because the Netflix One Piece series has been a colossal success, and they made changes to it. So, long story short, I highly recommend it. It's been a very enjoyable series, and it does a good serviceable job of kind of scratching that itch of sort of wanting something Pirates of the Caribbean. Of course, until Disney can find enough change in the couch cushions and llamas to convince Johnny Depp to come back.
Yeah.
Another example. Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
Another example was I like the rebirth of Evangelion. The first original Genesis Evangelion is one of my favorite shows of all time, but I think the rebirth has a ton of changes, and it actually is more entertaining in some ways. That's another example I think works.
Oh, and since we've got Paulie out there in the audience, hey Paulie, it's good to see you, man. It's worth mentioning before we pull that. Yes, Makwahuitl has hit its funding goals this week, and they've already had a celebration stream.
Yeah.
But just to remind everybody that it still has plenty of time to go. And as you can see, yes, I backed it at $44 because honestly, getting those books at that price is a heck of a good deal. But yeah, he's 1,000 over his goal. He's got 22 days to go. I am hoping that Paulie can get John on his show to talk to him about it, because this is a Latino project, so it is also a culturally Hispanic project dealing with culturally Latino things.
Yeah,
but also the fact that John is being attacked on several social media platforms that are calling into question his ethnicity, which that bothers me immensely. We're all friends of John. We all know John. John's been on our show. His last name is Torres. I mean, you don't get much more Latino than that, but
yeah.
It's like, what's your problem, guys? Is he just not the right shade of brown? What?
Does he
There was
not
also
have
that,
as much native blood or something? Sorry, go on.
No, there was also that.
What is it?
I'll say, look, the only thing he could have done to make this more Latino is like serve you the book in a corn husk.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
You didn't back it at the tortilla level then.
Okay, we're gonna have to suggest that one is like limited edition corn husk cover.
Yeah.
How much that would cost?
Hey, Macahitl.
Yeah, but yeah, for $44, man, you get the cool hardcover offset print edition, which really looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you get the print on demand, which so that'll effectively mean that you get 2 copies of the book, and you'll get the PDF too. So it's like for $44, man, that's a good deal. Because how many times have you spent more money on a game book and gotten less out of it?
Right.
And we've already shown you what the inside of the book looks like. We've already talked to John about the book, and this was before the Kickstarter launched. So, go back and watch it if you want, and see for yourself if you really if it's something you really want to back. At the very least, it is a white box compatible item, so
yeah,
why not just take it and crib it?
Yeah, you can pretty much combine it with like almost any OSR thing.
It's got hex grids, it's got, it's ready to go out of the box. I think it's a full game.
Yeah.
You don't need to download the white box stuff to play it. Like, it's got everything in it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But I wanted to say there was also a Reddit thread attacking him for supposedly being right wing because somebody found that he did a video on that Kyle Brink guy. And I guess they didn't like it, and there was like this whole. They were kind of trying to start a blacklist, and then using John as a springboard.
To be fair, though, I also came across on some of the subreddits people like praising and talking about how they couldn't wait to back it.
Well, they ended up blocking that thread. Like the mod stepped in and were like, "Yeah, we're not about this. We're locking it." So that was nice, at least. But yeah.
So there you go, guys. We have some positive stuff. There's stuff to back. There's stuff to look forward to. There's music to listen to. It's not all bad. We got some good stuff this week. We hit a major topic. I think we did a good job this week. Diversity and Dragons did a live stream with him the other night. You can go check out Diversity and Dragon streams. John's doing the rounds.
Yeah.
Which is good. There you go. There you go, Latino Slant.
Yep. And him and me will be streaming again on Monday. So yeah.
There you go. There you go. I'm looking forward to it. Although you guys are up so late that I usually end up having to go to bed. But...
Yeah, he starts at 4 a.m. my time. So how do you think I feel?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. Tomorrow, Grim is running. What is it? Star Blazers.
Star Blazer Adventures. Yes, running a sort of Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers-esque, but with a grittier tinge. Kind of Ignition City, if you've read that comic series by Warren Ellis, which you can read for free on a naughty site if you're careful. So yeah, if you want to get some grounding in what sort of thing to look forward to, there's that. And we've got room if people want to play, so let me know.
So there you go. There you go. All good stuff. Grim, how am I not part of Star Blazers? Well, Thoth, come on, man. Join us.
Yeah. need to join us.
Join us. All right, guys. Well, I think that'll about do it for our Week in Geek. Join us on Tuesday when Ironcaster and I hopefully get around to discussing Autistic Paladins.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
I'll be there.
Oh, good. We'll have a Greg. We might have a Victor. Actually, we have to have a Victor because we have to have our autistic on, right?
I can probably make an appearance.
There
You
you go.
start right as one shot ends, though. I might be a couple minutes late, but yeah.
That's fine.
Autistic
That's fine.
is whispered. You have to use Autista.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, yeah. And don't forget to catch Victor's One Shots show on Tuesdays, starting right before our show with Crossface Killa, because that dude is cool too.
Don't forget the Dutch oven, which may or may not be on. It just depends on how drunk we are.
Yeah, or how I feel.
Yeah.
I had awful jaw issues the other week, so it was giving me like splitting headaches. So yeah, I didn't stream last week, but we'll see tomorrow.
Ow. All right. Well, on behalf of the staff at the Hotel California, I wish you all sweet dreams.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
On behalf of the staff of the Independent California Motel, I wish you all sweet dreams. Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.